Hey guys, Patito Plays here, welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking about Any Dark Child. This is basically a video updating the deck to Spiritforged. So we are gonna take a look at new cards from Spiritforged that fit Any Dark Child deck. And we are gonna take a look at some new lists that made good results in a tournament in China for the release of Spiritforged. So this is basically a guide for you to navigate which cards you want to pick up from Spiritforged if you're upgrading your any deck, as well as some decklist ideas. So let's start. So I'm going to start with the units. So from Spiritforged we have Overzealous Fan and Treasure Hunter, which are new 2-drop units. Both are really good in any. Doesn't mean you have to play both in the same deck list, but they are both really good. So Overzealous Fan, it's 2 cost for 2 might unit, and says when I defend you may kill me to move an enemy attacking unit to its base. So this basically protects a point, a battlefield if you will, and it can help you protect other units you have that are of great value, like Kaisa and Darius. You don't want them to die in combat. If you have them and this guy in the point, you can always send an attacker back. You can still save both units with a flash, because flash can move up to 2 units from the point to the base, so that's basically a freebie. Then we have Treasure Hunter. Treasure Hunter says when I move, play a gold gear token exhausted. It also costs 2 energy and has only 1 might. But given that any is all about movement, when I move, play a gold gear token exhausted is really powerful, and is also can also be pretty power consuming, especially if you're playing falling stars and stuff. And this gold gear token might help your build playing those power heavy cards. And then after these 2 drops we have Ezreal Prodigy. This card is really good in any. It's seeing a lot of play. It helps you if you want to play the new repeat spells, because it reduces the optional costs. It also pays for the accelerate costs, so Kai'Sa's accelerate can be paid with this, so it costs less power overall. You can even play Kai'Sa's in a mono chaos build with just purple runes. We'll see that in a minute. But Ezreal is 3 energy and 1 purple power or chaos. And then when you play me, discard 1, then draw 2. Optional additional costs you pay cost 1 energy or 1 power less. So this is really good, especially if you're running Cold Shot and other stuff that has repeat, or units with accelerate. And then we have Fizz. Fizz is basically any champion but casts you the spell immediately, which is really good, and it costs 1 less energy. So yeah, I'm not the thing with Fizz is that sometimes the fact that you have to play the spell immediately is kinda awkward. Sometimes you just wanna put the spell in your hand to use later, but it's still good if you're just going for a Vi Ride the Wind finish. So you can play Vi, you play Fizz, you ride the wind from your trash, and you just combo off. But if you want to put a hard bargain into your hand or a flush, it can be really awkward, and you'd rather play Annie in that case. But it's I should start reading the whole card before talking about it. So it's 3 energy and 1 purple power or chaos for a 3 might champion unit that says when you play me you may play a spell from your trash with energy cost no more than 3, ignoring its energy cost. Recycle that spell after you play it. So yeah, basically it lets you cast a spell that costs 3 or less from your trash, which are basically almost every spell any plays are cheaper than 3. So there's that. The problem is what I just said. Sometimes you just want to put the spell into your hand to use later, because Annie wants to play a lot of spells on the opponent's turn. But yeah, it's still pretty good. Some lists are running Fizz, not all. So next we have Battering Ram. This card is kinda how do I put it? You don't see it very often in any lists, but it's pretty deceptively good. So it's 5 energy for a 5 might unit. Just that seems underwhelming, but then it says I cost 1 less for each card you've played this turn to a minimum of 1. So imagine you play a Fizz. Fizz costs something from your trash you didn't pay, and this suddenly costs more 3 or rather just 3 energy to play. 3 energy for a 5 might unit, and then you'll untap 2 runes in the end of your turn anyway. So it can provide really efficient plays. It showed up in one list and it piqued my attention. You should pay attention to this card too. Don't underestimate it. It gives you some really powerful plays. And then we have Pharaoh's Forerunner, which kind of compete with Battering Ram, and I think Forerunner is better. The thing is, Battering Ram doesn't cost any red power, and that might be relevant if you're going for a more chaos build and you want to have more chaos runes than fury runes. So keep that in mind. But Pharaoh's Forerunner is 6 energy and 1 red power for a 6 might unit that has Death Knell play 2 3 might mech units tokens to your base. So what this basically gives you is like 12 might for 6 energy. It's really efficient. It's really powerful. It's basically playing in almost every red deck, and Annie is no exception. This is a very powerful top of the curve unit, and you'll probably play it if you're not like almost full chaos. Next up we have Draven and Draven. So both Dravens are just amazing. They are both seeing play in any decks, in different builds, sometimes together. I still think that the purple one is the better for Annie, but Fury Draven is also not bad. So let's start with Draven Vanquisher, which is the red one. 4 energy for a 4 might champion unit that doesn't cost any power to come into play. When I win a combat, play a gold gear token exhausted. When I attack or defend, you may pay a fury. Basically send a fury rune to the bottom, or you can also pay it with the gold. If you do, give me +2 might this turn. Yeah, this is just a very efficient unit. It gives you gold that you can use to spend on more powerful stuff or on more expensive stuff like Falling Star. It can also use the gold to pay for its buff to go to 6 might. It doesn't cost you power to enter into play. It's just really good. Then we have Draven Audacious, which is 6 energy and 1 purple power for a 6 might unit with deflect. And the first time I win a combat each turn, you score a point. When I die in combat, choose an opponent, they score a point. So this Draven is all about winning combats, and basically it suits Annie in the sense that you always want to keep your energy up on your opponent's turn. That basically Annie's Dark Child ability helps you do so, to protect Draven in combat with spells. And for example, if someone attacks you in a point and you rebuke the opponent's unit, you win the combat. So what you're trying to do is score 2 points or an extra point every time you win a combat, and then it helps you do that by allowing you to cast spells on your opponent's turn to interfere with the combat. It's really good. I like Purple Draven a lot in any Dark Child. So now for the equipment, which is the main mechanic of Spiritforged. There are 2 equipment that are seeing play in any lists. One is Last Rites, which is a 3 energy for an equipment that gives +2 might, as a equip cost of 1 Chaos Rune, recycle 2 cards from your trash. And it says, when I conquer or hold, you may play a unit from your trash. So what this basically lets you do is it lets you buff your smaller units and then lets you recast stuff from your trash. And basically gives you some grinding power in the game. Any struggles with draw, sometimes you run out of cards, and Last Rites is some sort of card draw that it's not drawing you cards from the top, but it's giving you extra creatures to play every turn, which is really good. And I've seen a list use one of these main board and one of these on the side. I suppose the one on the side you bring in against grindy matchups in which you wanna play more units, because they'll kill your units like Victor or Lux or something like that. And then we have Longsword, which I have talked about before as being very good for Annie. Longsword as quick draw, so you can play it on your opponent's turn and equip it right away, or attach it basically. And it's just 2 energy and 1 red power for a buff of +2 might for a unit. This is perfect for Annie because you untap always 2 runes at the end of your turn, and you always have these as an additional trick you can do in your opponent's turn, in alternative to every other card that already plays in Annie. So for example, an opponent attacks you, and depending on the attackers, you might want to rebuke, you might want to fight or flight, you might want to just put a longsword on your guy and kill your opponent. And longsword is just giving you more options, because Chaos and Fury kinda lack combat tricks to use on your opponent's turn. A lot of red combat tricks are about giving your units assault, and Annie doesn't want to give assault. Annie wants to just jam in on your opponent's turn, and Longsword allows you to do that. So yeah, it's pretty good. So after the equipment, let's go to the spells. So new spells from Spiritforged that fit Annie. You have Blood Rush, which is how do I put it? It's basically cleave with the ability of repeat that can go to assault 4. So if you pay the repeat cost in a turn that you have a little bit more runes available, it can be better than Cleave. So I would say the card gains from being more flexible than Cleave. Basically, you wanna do it every time. For example, you want 1-cost spells to trigger your Darius if you're still running Darius in your list. But imagine you have more runes to spend that turn. You want to give your Darius Assault 4 instead of Assault 2, so it can be better than having a Cleave. Yeah, I'm just going into corner case scenarios, but Blood Rush is not a card that you see often, a 3-off in the lists, but 1 or 2 is kinda fine, because you need 1-cost spells for your Darius if you're running it. If you're not running Darius, you probably also won't run Blood Rush. It's also really good with Ezreal Prodigy, because Ezreal Prodigy gives you the repeat for free. Same for the next card, which is Cold Shot, which costs 0 energy and costs purple power. And has repeat for the same cost, as all the repeat cards have the repeat cost equal to the cost of the card. So Cold Shot is really good if you're also running Ezreal Prodigy, because you can always pay the repeat with Ezreal and just dig 4 cards deep into the deck, put 2 into your hand for like 1 rune. That's amazing. If you're not running Ezreal Prodigy, I would not go all in Cold Shot. I think it's still a trade-off with stacked deck, because stacked deck is a lot less costly than paying a power. But yeah, it's a trade-off. If you're playing Ezreal, I would consider Cold Shot. If you're not playing Ezreal, I would consider stacked deck. Next up on the list, we have Switcheroo, which is just one of the best cards in Spiritforged. I cannot understand how people don't get. This is one of the best cards in the set. This card just plays with your opponent's mind so much. If you ever get them with this one time, they will be thinking every time they attack you, and you have a hidden card if it's Switcheroo. Because this card is so flexible, it allows you to do so many shenanigans. They have to consider so many attack patterns from your side, and sometimes it's not even Switcheroo, you just hit a fight or flight. But they are so traumatized by Switcheroo that they will be thinking about it for the rest of the time of the match. This card basically allows you to swap mights of 2 units in the same battlefield. Mind you, you can swap your might with your opponent's might. So if you have like a treasure hunter, which is a 1 might unit, you can swap with your opponent's 8 might unit, and there's not much you can do about it. Yeah, this card is absolutely insane. It's one of the best hidden spells available, and you should run it if you're running also Fight or Flight. I'm not saying run 3 of this, because there are situations in which this card doesn't do anything for you, but the situations in which it does, it's amazing. You should run at least 1 copy in your deck, or at least I think you should, and sometimes people run 2. But yeah, this card always catches your opponent off guard. It also has action speed if you don't want to hide it. It's a bit costly, it's a bit power hungry if you're casting it from your hand, but Annie at least untaps the runes for you to always be able to use this on your opponent's turn if the situation calls. And of course there's always a disadvantage in hiding it, which is you must use it if you have a unit on the battlefield, meaning if your opponent removes your unit, you'll lose your Switcheroo. so keeping it in hand has that small advantage to you. And then we have Hard Bargain, which is also another spell with repeat. Counter a spell unless its controller pays 2, and it costs 2. This is also great if you have Ezreal. I wouldn't go very deep on Hard Bargain, at least in your main deck. There are matchups in which it shines, but you should have like 1 or 2 copies on the sideboard and 1 on the main deck. You only bring the extra copies if the matchup calls for it. The matchups that do call for this are probably Irelia, that is very spell heavy. It's probably Victor, very spell heavy. It's probably Lux, and it's probably Azir, because Azir also plays stuff like Great Stratagem and the signature spell of Azir, that if you can hard bargain them, man, you're in for a deal. Now let's look at some lists from China tournaments. So there's this list here, which is just like very similar to what Annie plays right now. As you can see by the numbers, it's more chaos oriented, but not that much. It's still running 2 Kaisas, 3 Darius, 3 Dravens, the red Draven, and then 2 of the purple Draven. It's a lot more heavy on big units. It's only playing the Vi combo on the sideboard. I'm not sure that's correct, but I mean, this guy made I think 3rd place in a 60-man event, so the guy knows better than I do what he was doing. There's the Scrap Heap main board with Zone Warrens. I think that's the standard for any decks, and yeah, this is a typical any list with just a couple of upgrades. I'll also point you to the Thermal Beam on the sideboard, which is an adjustment to Spiritforged, because you know, decks play a lot of gear and Thermal Beam will help you on those matchups. Obviously never bring these two on the same match. Next, I have another crazy list of Annie that is basically playing 12 Chaos runes and is just playing mono Chaos. This also made a 4th place on a 50-man event. It also plays 3 Seals of Discord. It's playing Battering Ram because, as I said, not having access to red power, Battering Ram becomes a lot more enticing. I also think you should consider playing Kaisa, the red Kaisa, because she doesn't cost power and you can accelerate her with Ezreal if you want. This list is also playing Last Rites, 1 on the main, 1 on the side. It's playing 2 copies of Switcheroo, 1 copy of Blood Rush, even though it's not playing Darius. This guy is running Overzealous Fan. I think the previous list was running Treasure Hunter. As you see, you don't have to run both, because Traveling Merchant is still really good. But they are still upgrades to like Pautiporo. Pautiporo is still good, but you know, if Kaisa is not very predominant, Overzealous Fan is probably better. And this list is running Nocturne because of Cold Shot and Stacked Deck, in order to get the Nocturne into play. Yeah, it's a very interesting list. This is what the lists of any look in the new meta with Spiritforged, and these are lists I want you to keep in mind. This is not final or definitive, it's just for you to get inspiration to build any for the new meta that is coming with the new cards. It's also to help you find the staples you want, because some people just want to grab all the staples available to the deck, And yeah, keep these cards in mind that I've shown you. Grab them if you can and build the any lists that you love. Thanks for sticking with me, guys. Like, subscribe, it helps me grow the channel. Leave a comment with your ideas, and see you guys on the next one. Bye.